Hey guys, Foxdrop here with another patch breakdown analysis video. I'm fully aware that Saint Vicious actually does a bunch of patch notes videos as well, and they're pretty good videos, but he covers everything and doesn't go into a lot of detail. So I'll be linking that video in the description, so if you want like a general breakdown, I think his video for this patch is like 13 minutes long or something, then you can check that out. I will be skipping a lot of stuff because Saint Vicious has already covered it and there's no need for me to do what he's doing, but I will be going into more detail on some of the more specific things, specifically the jungle stuff which I'm interested in. So like I say, that'll be in the description if you want to check that out, alongside the link to these patch notes, so you can check them out and read them for yourself. So getting started, I'm not going to talk about Akali just because I'm only going to be focusing on the jungle stuff. But Akali got buffed, Caitlyn got nerfed, Cassiopeia got a nice buff. Diana is a semi-jungle champ. She's a champion which she can jungle. She's not a like conventional jungler by any means. And this change shouldn't really do much to her. Their passive, they've changed it so it does less damage, especially at later levels. But early on, it shouldn't affect her clear ability, and later on, she doesn't really need it to clear that fast anyway, so that's fine. That won't hurt her too much. The power cascade, so her shield now does a lot less. Like the shield is actually reduced, which is going to hurt her quite a lot. But it now the shield application stacks. So basically, you press W, you get your shield and 3 balls around you, and then when those balls explode, you get another shield. But the way it used to work before this patch was that second shield would overwrite the first shield, so you kind of be wasting a lot of that first shield because your balls would explode immediately, so you wouldn't get to use that first shield, you wouldn't get much use out of it. But now that shield actually overlaps, so it does less, it shields you for less on its own, but because they overlap, it actually kind of works out a lot better. And when you're jungling, you do pop that shield instantly, so that doesn't really affect her at all. If anything, it's probably quite nice for her. So Diana has not changed. Elise got a nerf this patch. Now this is, in my opinion, I'm not quite sure what to think about this nerf, because on one side it's kind of harsh. Like basically her Screaming Frenzy, her W has increased AP ratios. You don't really need to worry about that. It's 0.02 and you don't really get AP anyway on Elise. So that's not anything to really think about. But Spider form, so when she's in Spider, she no longer grants bonus armor and magic resist. And Elise got something like, basically she started off at 10, at level 1 it was 10 bonus armor magic resist, and then it went all the way up to 25 armor and 25 magic resist when she was in Spider form. So the fact that they've taken this away means that when you're first clearing, when you are jungling, you do not have as much armor when you're in spider form, and that's obviously the form which you spend most of your time in when you are jungling. And getting minus 10 armor doesn't really seem like a lot, but if you think about it, when you have your room pages, when you have your yellows, when you are filling your yellows with armor, which is what you do for pretty much every single jungler, when you're filling your yellows with armor, that gives you like 13 armor, or like 12.7 or something like that. So you basically it's almost the same as getting rid of all of your armor runes, and you know how much of a difference they make. So this is a pretty big change. However, when you are playing Elise, you don't have to tank all the creeps yourself, because you can have your spiders tank for you. And obviously the armor will not matter in that instance because you're not tanking it anyway. The spiders will be tanking it for you. So there is that. However, right? Don't want to get too confusing, but you don't. It's kind of like it's like a fine line. Whenever you have like minions in the jungle, so say like Shaco with his boxes, Zyra with her plants, Elise with her spiders, you need to balance out having your minions tank for you and having them DPS for you, because if your minions or your box or whatever doesn't tank, then it's not going to die, which means it's going to be able to put out more DPS. But if it does tank, then it will die sooner, but you won't take as much damage because it's tanking for you. So you need to balance that out, and sometimes it's just better to not have them tank, because then whatever you're fighting will die quicker, and therefore you will lose less health anyway. So a lot of the times it's not good for your things for your minions to be tanking, and especially with Elise. When she activates her W, her spiders heal her. So if she doesn't have that many spiders, she won't be healing herself for as much. So having her spiders tank for her may not be the best idea. But basically, either way you look at it, this hurts Jungle Elise quite a lot. This hurts her quite a lot. And I don't know whether she'll be, like, whether she's being killed or not. It is a big change, but we will see, because Elise kind of needed these nerfs. But I do think these definitely hit Jungle Elise harder than they hit Lane Elise, but at the same time, Lane Elise was OP, and they needed to nerf her a little bit. So, what you gonna do? I don't know whether this will kill her or not, but it's definitely not nice for her. Jarvan's E has a vision radius reduction. Not too much to say about that. Karma, yeah, not even gonna mention Karma. Just a little bug fix. Misfortune, she got nerfed, I think, or she got changed slightly. Nami got buffed. Nunu, this is what I want to talk about. Nunu, this is the biggest change in this patch, because Nunu's consume now gives him various buffs depending on what he eats in the jungle. His consume does a bit more damage now as well. It heals him for less, which is good, because that's kind of killing top lane Nunu, that kind of cheese lane, which is really annoying to play versus. And they're killing the AP ratio as well. So let's talk about the buffs which he's getting. So the more you rank this up, and normally you would rank your consumer last on Nunu, so I don't know whether this would change it, because the fact that now when you rank it up, you're obviously doing more damage and you're increasing this buff duration, and these buffs are really good. So golem type monsters now grant you 10% increased size and maximum health. Nunu has the highest health in the game, highest health at level 18, I believe. Like with this and with his base health anyway, he's almost around 3,000 health, I believe. It's around that much anyway. He's got a huge amount of health. Maybe it's like 2.5 or something like that. And you build Nunu very tanky anyway. So if you're building tanky and you eat a golem, it's not surprising to see a Nunu running around with like 4.5k, 5k health. And that is a lot. That is a lot of health. And that is scary. That is one scary Yeti when he is that big. When you eat a lizard type monster, your basic attacks and spells do additional magic damage equal to 1% of Nunu's maximum health. So again, like I was saying, if you build Nunu flat tank with loads of health, even if you don't have this golem buff, because obviously you can't have the golem buff and the like lizard buff here, even if you build in flat tank and you do an extra 1% of your maximum health, if you have like 4k health, that is a lot of extra damage. That's like 40 extra damage with all your spells and all your basic attacks. And this doesn't say that it's a dot either. If this is flat damage, so say something like what would be the equivalent, like the Spellblade passive, for example, it's not like a dot like the Elder Lizard item, where if your attack speed's really fast, then you're kind of just overlapping, refreshing the dot, so you're not really getting the most use out of it. If this is just flat damage, then you Blood Boil yourself and you punch on Nunu, you're burning people, you're destroying them for an extra 40 damage every time you do it, so that's pretty crazy. And the Wraith and Wolf type monsters, when you eat them, you get 15% increased move speed for 3 seconds after you kill a unit. So this will help your move speed when you're running from camp to camp, and when you're running from, like when you're ganking, you can run onto the lane, eat. Oh wait, no, you can't do that because the minions aren't Wraiths or Wolves. But so this is just gonna help you when you're running from camp to camp. Actually, it will. Actually, no. I was right the first time. If you've got this buff on you and then you eat a creep, then you will get that 15% move speed. But it's only for 3 seconds, so I don't really know whether this is. I don't know. I think this is the. I think this will only be useful when you are like I say, like when you are running from camp to camp. So you'll eat, you'll consume like the Wraiths, for example, and then you'll run over to red buff and start doing that, and then you'll instantly take the red buff. I don't know. Wow, that's really confusing. You take the lizard buff from the red buff, and that will help you clear faster. It doesn't matter if you're moving faster, because I think this will help you clear faster to the extent that your clear speed will probably be faster with this rather than with the 15% move speed after you've killed a unit. I don't know whether this will make Nunu broken. It's put him in a nice place for jungling, like a really nice place. So I don't know, we'll see. It's hard to say. I'm not much of a Nunu player myself. I know that Saint Vicious believes this is broken Nunu, but Saint Vicious is very dramatic when it comes to saying things are broken and OP and stuff like that. So we'll see whether that actually happens. But it's definitely Nunu was already a good jungler, and this has made him a lot better. Quinn, bug fix, Ramos. You can no longer taunt minions, so Ramos is now OP as hell. But in all seriousness, Ramos is like a really good champion. I think Ramos is really good. He's played quite a lot in competitive play anyway, especially in Korea. I think Ramos is nice, and that just makes it less annoying. Rumble, they changed him slightly. They did nerf him, but Rumble has been since his release has been one of the champions with the highest win ratios. So I think that's definitely necessary. I wanted to play Jungle Rumble, but I don't have enough IP to buy him, so I'm kind of saving up for him. But this Flame Spit, it looked to me like this maybe has nerfed Rumble a little bit, but the Danger Zone damage should make up for it. Like you can easily stay in manage your Danger Zone really easily when you're jungling because there's no like enemy laner to pressure you. So that should be okay. Twisted Fate got nerfed, which is good. Bug fix for Udyr, sorry. Varus got nerfed. They kind of shifted Varus's damage from his E to his Q, so that's quite interesting. I like that change. Warwick now, this is a slight buff, but I don't think it's enough. Like Warwick just has some very innate fundamental issues with him, and I don't think this is going to change them. The channel time has been reduced by quite a lot, but the suppression has not been reduced, and now you're always placed in front of the target rather than a random spot, which I don't think this made. They did this with Katarina back in Season 2 and it didn't change her at all. They had to rework her to change her. So I don't think this will make much of a difference at all, to be honest. Zac has been nerfed. His base health has been crushed. This is a pretty huge nerf to his base health regen, sorry. Pretty big nerf to that. But he doesn't really need the regen because, well, I don't know. To a certain extent, he does need the regen because obviously all of his spells cost him health, but he will heal off of his health if he picks up his blobs. So he doesn't need it to that extent, but to another extent, he does need it. So yeah, pretty big nerf still. And his ultimate has been nerfed. The damage has been nerfed. There was a bug fix, and the tenacity on it has been nerfed as well. So you're easier to control when you are bouncing around. Zed has also been nerfed. Zed Jungle has... I don't really know what to say about Zed Jungle. Zed Jungle is best to max E in my opinion because then you clear really, really quickly. But the fact that they've increased that cooldown by 1 second, I think that is... This is just a huge nerf to Zed overall because it's really hard to get 2 E's off now during your ultimate, because I think your ultimate ghost only lasts for 4 seconds. I believe it's something like that. And so if the cooldown is also 4 seconds, you can only get 1 off, and then I don't know, it's something. I don't really play Zed enough to understand it, but this is what people are saying, that it's kind of, it only looks like a 1 second cooldown, but it's actually nerfed him quite a lot. And to be honest, Zed needs a nerf, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. But I think, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, because if this is a nerf to Zed overall as a champion, it doesn't matter. He's going to suck in the jungle, because if he's a bad champion, he's a bad champion. If he's overnerfed, he's overnerfed. It doesn't matter how some things affect junglers more than they affect laners. For example, the Elise change with the armor. But this might just hurt Zed in general. It doesn't matter if it touches your jungle, because as soon as you come out of the jungle, if you suck as a champion, then it doesn't matter whether, you know, you're still gonna suck. So that's really all I can say about Zed. Hopefully he doesn't suck, so I quite like playing Zed, but at the same time I understand he's pretty OP at the moment. Now, there are a lot of item changes which you can read if you wish to. Oh yeah, I want to talk about this. So the caster minions have their base attack damage reduced to 23 from 25. So it looks like the purple caster minion was OP all along. This doesn't look like a lot. This is 2 damage from each attack. But if you think about it, every time you trade, say you are hit, I don't know, say you're hit 5 times in a trade. So if you are hit 5 times in a trade, then you're going to be taking 10 less damage. And 10 less damage isn't that much from your health. But when you are consistently trading with people, it all adds up. All these minor changes, they add up. They really do add up. And so say you trade, you take 5 hits when you trade, and then you trade 3 or 4 times. So you're getting, that's like 30 or 40 extra health you get in your lane just because these things are doing less damage to you. And also it means that the lanes will push slower because the caster minions are really the ones that push the lanes. The towers will die slower. All that kind of stuff. So it should create, I don't know, the lane phase should be less punishing, I think, with this change. But at the same time, this is still only a very minor change, so I don't want to like say too much about it. It's not too big of a change. But anyway, I think I've talked far too long at the as it goes. But I do want these videos to be more in depth rather than a general kind of overview of stuff. Like I say, if you want to see an overview, go check out Satan Vicious's video. That will be in my comment. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Come check me out on Facebook and on Twitter, on Twitch, and on Anook. And thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.